The night BTS reunited, Jungkook, Jimin, and SUGA appear at Jin's concert. Hello Army. A night that moved millions. June 29, 2025. It began like any other day. The sun rose as usual. The streets of Seoul were filled with the rhythm of daily life. But as night fell, something changed. The city sky seemed brighter and the evening air was filled with hope. In the midst of a long-held longing, inside a grand arena glowing with lights and a sea of purple, a concert that had been awaited for months finally began. Kim Seokjin, the eldest member of BTS, returned to the stage after completing his military service. But what unfolded that night was so much more than just a solo concert. That night became a legendary moment in K-pop history. A night when three beloved figures, Jungkook, Jimin, and SUGA, quietly appeared in the audience, without warning, without a stage, without a single word, and yet brought warmth that shook the world. Jin's concert, a night filled with longing and love. Thousands gathered that night. Fans from all around the world came, bringing hope and tears, waving banners saying "Welcome back Jin, we miss you, and you never walked alone." When Jin started singing, the atmosphere turned magical. His soft voice floated through the air, taking the audience on a journey of longing, strength, and love. The concert itself was already deeply meaningful. Jin performed with charm. His signature smile was unchanged. His jokes, the way he spoke, the way he lovingly greeted armies, all reminded us of the precious memories before military enlistment took him away from the stage. But behind all the lights and glitter, something unexpected happened. Three shadows that shook the stadium. There was no announcement. No spotlight. Suddenly, a whisper spread among the audience. Wait, isn't that Jungkook? OMG. That's Jimin. That's Yoongi. Within seconds, the entire stadium changed. Hearts skipped a beat. All eyes turned to one section. The VIP seats amidst the crowd. Jungkook with his gentle smile. Jimin with teary eyes. SUGA in a cap and hoodie, quietly seated, but glowing with presence. They didn't come to perform. They didn't bring songs or choreography. They just came. For their brother. For their friend. For Jin. No words, but the message was loud. They didn't speak on stage, but their presence spoke louder than 1,000 microphones. This was love in its purest form. Love that doesn't need words. Love that simply shows up. Jimin was seen softly singing along while holding his light stick. Jungkook stood at times, clapping and cheering. SUGA, known for his calm expressions, wore a slight smile. But his eyes were filled with pride. That night, none of them sought attention. But because of that, the world's spotlight found them. Fans in tears, hope reborn. Tears filled the arena. Some fans held each other's hands. Others covered their mouths in disbelief. Many just sat frozen, overwhelmed. They witnessed something they had only dreamed of. BTS together again, even if it was just 3 out of 7, but it was enough to reignite hope. Social media comments flooded in from around the globe. This isn't just a concert. This is a family reunion. I can't stop crying. They didn't even say anything, but my heart feels hugged. This togetherness is stronger than any stage. Global media goes wild. In less than an hour, hashtags like #JinConcert, #Jungkook Jimin SUGA, and #BTS Reunion dominated global trending topics. Media outlets across Korea, Japan, the US, and Europe reported on the moment. BTS members reunite in the audience, a silent but powerful gesture. Jin's solo concert turns into an emotional OT for reunion. Jungkook, Jimin, and SUGA attend without announcement, fans in tears. Fancam videos went viral in minutes. Fans at home cried with those in the arena. And everyone asked the same thing. Is this the start of a full BTS comeback? Was this their way of telling us they're still together? Beyond a show, this was a statement. When someone shows up uninvited, without being paid, without seeking attention, just out of love, that's the most genuine form of presence. That night, Jungkook, Jimin, and SUGA showed the world that BTS was never broken. That they're not just a music group. They are a family. And for armies, seeing them together again, without saying a word, meant more than any performance ever could. An end that feels like a new beginning. The concert ended. The lights dimmed. But the emotions in the hearts of those who were there, and those watching around the world, continued to burn. Many didn't leave right away. They sat in silence, cried, reflected, because that night gave them something far greater than entertainment. Hope. Hope that soon there will be a day when Jin, SUGA, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook will stand together again. Not just in the crowd, but on the same stage. And the world will welcome them back with tears and smiles. A call to ARMY. ARMY, we want to hear from you. What did you feel when they appeared that night? Did your heart tremble like ours? Do you believe this is the beginning of something even greater? Share your story in the comments. Like this video if you cried that night. Subscribe so you never miss another piece of BTS history. Because that night, BTS didn't perform on stage, but they performed in our hearts. And that was more than enough. Asterisk asterisk. But maybe, just maybe, that's what made it more powerful than any stage performance ever could be. There were no pyrotechnics. No dramatic light cues. No rehearsed choreography. There was no set list, no encore, no fan chant echoing through a stadium. Instead, there were raw emotions. Tears that flowed not just from eyes, but from memories. From the weight of years past. From the longing that had built up silently in the hearts of millions. When Jin walked onto that stage, he wasn't alone. Even before the surprise appearances, even before the cheers erupted, the air was electric with something more than excitement. It was love. It was loyalty. It was the unbreakable bond between 7 men and the world they changed forever. And then, in the crowd, 3 familiar silhouettes. Jungkook, Jimin, SUGA. They didn't have microphones in hand. But somehow, their silent presence was louder than any concert speaker could have ever been. They weren't performing as idols that night. They were simply brothers showing up for their own. And in doing so, they reminded us all that BTS was never just about music. It was, and always will be, about connection. About showing up. About love that doesn't need to be spoken to be felt. So if you felt something that night, if you cried, even just a little, if your heart fluttered seeing them reunited, even for a moment, know that you're not alone. Because across the globe, millions of hearts beat in rhythm that night. Not to a song, but to a feeling called BTS. So please, share your story in the comments. Tell us what that moment meant to you. Tell us where you were when you saw them appear. Tell us how long you've waited. How hard you've hoped. Because your story, your tears, your joy, your journey, is part of this history too. Like this video if you felt something real that night. Subscribe so you never miss another moment like this. Because we're not just fans watching from afar. We're a part of this. And as long as BTS continues to walk this path, whether together on stage or quietly in each other's lives, we'll be here. With them. With each other. Always. Because even when the music stops, even when the lights fade out, even when there's no stage, BTS still finds a way to perform. Not with songs, but with love. And will always be more than enough.